Welcome back. You're watching Newsmaker Live with me, Kendall Burton. My guest this evening, Father J. Lambert St. Rose, author of the book In Turbulent Waters. A provocative piece of literary work, provides a vivid exposition of the evil within our midst, the truly dark side of our St. Lucian culture. Looks at several instances of demon possession, witchcraft, the occult, which seems to be growing in popularity, especially among our young people. They were drawn to the movie theaters and the cinemas in droves, by movies about the occult and witchcraft. The Harry Potter series, very popular, even among Catholic youth. What do you think accounts for that, and why has the church been so silent in the face of, a seeming irrelevance of the church and a growing popularity of the occult?
I think this crept up unnoticingly by the church. And man is always challenged by that kind of external power, which they fail to recognize already exists within them, as reference to Psalm 8 verse 5 and Genesis respectively, that when God made us, he made us in his own image and likeness. The moment we fail to recognize the true notion, the true understanding, the theological depth of being the mirror, the image and likeness of God, we will look for things outside of us, as Adam and Eve did. That's how the devil tempted them. I will make you powerful. God has made you limited, but I'm going to make you all powerful. And that is what draws man towards that kind of depraved behavior, in search of power, in search of honor, in search of integrity, and of course wealth, fame, and power, as you saw in the beginning of the book, where he said that, insipid salt or children of Esau could have been a more appropriate title for this tablet novel. Instead, turbulent water, right? Why insipid salt? Because evil is baseless and it is worth trampling underfoot. Why children of Esau? Because the partakers of evil are by nature tricksters, killers, hunters, and notorious vagabonds in search of divine cloths, powerful skills, cherished property, all at the expense of their birthrights. And what is that birthright? The image, the likeness of God. God said, I give you authority, dominion, and power over all the works of my hands. Genesis, again, is repeated in Psalm 8 verse 5, and again in the gospel, where Jesus said, you are gods, but you will die like ordinary men. And the word gods is reference to those who listen to God, who recognize themselves as the image, the likeness of God. People recognize there is internal power which comes to us through the Holy Spirit as a gift from God.
Yeah. Let me just remind the viewers that the lines are open. If you have any calls, if you have any questions or comments, we welcome them. Father J. Lambert St. Rose, the author of the book In Turbulent Waters. Now, as we talk about this book, on more than one occasion, you finger persons involved in the church. In some occasions, pastors and clergy were involved in demon worship, black masses, and the like. The Catholic Church itself has had its share of accusations. From the 1800s, there have been claims that the Illuminati have infiltrated the church, from the seminaries to the College of Cardinals. How do you respond to those accusations and suggestions?
I don't think it's a lie. I think there is, as I said, this cultic movement in St. Lucia has infiltrated every institution. There is no institution, and I mean not even our schools at the lowest level, is now exempted from the infiltration of such persons.
Okay, let's go to the lines. We have our first call. Good evening, you're on the air.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, and good evening, Father.
Good evening.
I'd just like to ask you a question in relation with exorcism. The method of exorcising as it's practiced within the Roman Catholic Church, is it a biblical model? And also, are all believers able to cast out demons, or is this a special rite to be exercised by certain priests? And the reason why I ask the question is because in the Gospels there is a reference where Jesus Christ says that I give you power and authority to cast out demons, exorcia and of course exousia and dunamis, and of course he's making the reference to all of the disciples. So I'm asking, are all believers able to exercise the right? That do all believers possess that exousia, or is it exclusively, rather I should say, is it only a certain clergy men within the Roman Church who has the power to exercise?
Thank you very much.
You so much.
Thank you so much. Let me just put it this way. I'm sure that you're listening. Exorcism is not do-it-yourself kit. There is no kit for that. And it is a power given to the church by Jesus Christ. It is not vested in the individual priest. It is vested in the church. A priest cannot take on this responsibility solo. He has to be given that mandate by his local ordinary, the bishop, who is the fullness of the priesthood, and the priest is only a helper to the bishop, who cannot be in every part of the church at the same time. Not every believer, therefore, is entitled to take up this mantle because of its demanding responsibility and challenges. We remember the 7 sons of Sceva in Acts 19:11-17, who attempted to exorcise some people, and the demon said to them, I recognize Jesus. Paul, I know all about him, but you guys, I don't know who you are. And the devil turned on them and gave them a solid beating. And therefore, persons who dare take up such responsibility must safeguard themselves against any personal interest in gaining a name or power or recognition for themselves. It has to be done with the utmost sense of humility and a profound sense of spirituality in prayer. Your third part of your question, yes, there is a special exorcism rite within the Catholic Church, which is based on Scripture from the beginning to the very end of it.
Okay, let's go back to the lines. Good evening, you're on the air.
To you and your guest. I'm a little confused with the part about he was talking about the priest talking about the church and the
Paul, could you speak a little
we're talking
louder?
about the officer.
Could you speak
We're
a
talking
little
about the
louder?
officer of the church. The head to give him authority to cast out a demon. That's what I'm understanding from him. Because if that's what I'm understanding, and it sounds like it's a Catholicism, a Catholic thing. You could correct me if I'm wrong. And you have to get authority from your superior. That don't make no sense to me. Because if you look at the scriptures, there's no way in the Bible that says he said, I have given you power, and he gave us all power to cast out demons. So you're telling me you walking in town or you walking somewhere and a child is possessed or somebody is possessed and behaving in front of you, as a priest you need to get authority from your superior to cast out a demon?
My dear friend, could I just stop you here?
Thank you very much.
I think if you were listening earlier, I'm positively sure that I did make mention of the fact that you do not meet someone who is possessed and immediately initiate the process of exorcism. There is a channel through which you must go. There are steps to be followed, to be taken, before you reach that final decision that the person is in need of exorcism. If you want to pray for the individual, you are free to do so. But in the church, and I can only speak from the perspective of a Catholic church or the Catholic Church, that's where the whole spirit of humility comes in again. Though I am a priest, yet I have certain powers through which I can exercise over the Eucharist, the management of a parish, the formation of schools, etc., etc. But there are certain things powers that does not reside in me. I have to learn to be humble enough to say to my authority, will you permit me to handle this, or is there somebody else that you think more worthy than I am to handle this? It is mainly from a perspective of humility rather than guided by arrogance. Because when such power is given to us, man is basically a creature who is spinned out of control wherever he is given absolute power. Now, I do not want this to happen to me as a priest, and I do not want it to happen to any priest whatsoever.
Okay, back to the lines. Good evening, you're on the air.
I would like to tell Father that you said that you have to go to a psychologist and channels and so on. But when somebody is demon possessed and the person is grievously sick, and I know what I'm talking about. So if I am demon possessed, I'm telling you that I know that I am demon possessed, because you could feel the spirits inside of you tormenting you day and night. So I will not waste my time to go to a psychiatrist. If I come to you and you don't want to pray for me, that is left to you. But once the person's life is in danger with spirits, and if the person have legions of spirits on them, I will not waste, and I know that I will not go to any kind of doctor to go and find out anything that I already know what I have, and I'm feeling I'm suffering night and day. I am a living person with demons on me. that I cannot get anybody to take out spirits on me. So I know what I have, and I'm not going.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you, caller.
You want to respond to that, Father?
How do I respond to this? I think I made it a little, I hope that I made it a little clearer earlier when I said that there are necessary steps that one has to go through to be able to discern and to diagnose the individual's condition.
But as more for you and your protection than for the person, yes?
It's also for the person's protection, because I could be holding back the person's healing process by allowing them to believe that they are demon possessed. I mean, there is a case here in this book where the individual, everybody in the family thought that the individual was demon possessed. And it took us about 3 months to discern that was not the case. The person was acting out because of abuse.
Sexual abuse.
That's correct.
Right.
And of course, it affected the person's mind tremendously. Now, I could have done serious damage to that person by not first counseling the individual. And even when somebody comes to you, they are in desperate haste to be delivered, to be healed. But precautionary measures must be taken, because there is no devil behind every tree. And a spirit does not enter into people like that. You've got to give them a cause. You must have opened the door somewhere. And you must trace where you've opened that door so that when it comes out, you don't let it back in again. And people who are in pain, they can't rationalize all these things. But you who are in control need to help them.
Yeah. Another call. Good evening.
Yes, good night again. I lost my second question. As it relates to persons who practice things that's outside.
Caller, could I ask you to speak a little louder, please?
Yeah. As it relates to persons practicing things that's outside of the will of God, religions, and we have a few of them in St. Louis, such as the Lodge. I noticed that there seemed to have been a connection between. Before the Catholic Church would not allow a Lodge member to be to have a funeral at the church, but now I'm saying that at the obituaries that the Lodge members are you could correct me. The Lodge members are free to do so at the church. What exactly does the church represent? And siding up or tagging up with the Lodge members as it relates to being one. That have seemed to trouble me for a while, seeing Lodge members are being, having funeral service at the Catholic Church. What's that all about? Number two, we're looking at we speak of
exorcism.
Yes. As it relates to that, at what point will the Catholic Church or the church in general, because when you speak of the Catholic Church, it makes it look as if it's the Catholic Church that's responsible for spiritual growth only in St. Lucia. There are other organizations that do very well as it relates to that.